mess. Broadcast
And
is
we are live. Welcome, everyone, to the Connected for Real podcast. I am Rebbetzin Chen Grossman, a marriage coach for women in business. And today with me, I have Meira Goldberg Bar-Lev, which is a finding love again expert. Meira, introduce yourself. Tell everybody why you're so awesome.
wow, tall order. Okay, I'm Meira Bar-Lev. I've been a life coach for 18 years. And should I go into my story first?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, so I was married for 23 years to a wonderful man. And in um, 2020, when everything else went haywire in the world, he passed away. And after going through a period of grief, I decided that I didn't want to be alone. And I started dating. And and I won't go into exactly how this all came about, but eventually I met my husband Yitzhak and met at friend's house over at their Shabbos table, and we started dating, and then very quickly became clear to both of us that we were each other's soulmate and we shared and everything, and we got married. And very shortly later, and we had this amazing wedding on the street that the community actually made for us everything. And there were about 250 people on the street celebrating because it was at the end of COVID and everybody was looking for something to celebrate. And everybody was so happy and excited. And it was such a cool story because I was a widow and he was a widower.
That's really beautiful.
And people started coming up to me at the wedding and after the wedding saying, wow, I am so just amazed, impressed with you. It's so brave what you've done. You've inspired me. You've given me hope. One even said to me, you guys are proof that there is God. So I said to myself, here, I'm a life coach and I have all these skills and all this experience, and I've been divorced and I've been single and I've been widowed and I've been working with women mostly over the last few years. It seems like Hashem wants me to change course now and reach out to the women that have been divorced, that have been widowed, and want to find love again. And so that's what I started doing. I started about a year ago. And then after the first experience, I completely revamped the program and just recently finished Mastermind Finding Love Again. And the feedback was awesome. The women, I'm sorry?
I bet. This
Yeah,
is amazing because, like you said, you're giving hope. When a person is in a situation where it just feels like, okay, I'm stuck here forever. This is just how it is, you know? And suddenly they're like, oh, there might be a way out. Like there is a tiny little speck of light that things might change. That suddenly turns everything around, right?
absolutely. And so these women have come to me and we work together in a 5-week program. And at the end of the program, one woman said that she had been thinking a long time that maybe she could get back with her ex-husband, but now it was clear to her that that connection was finished and that she could move ahead. And it was so freeing for her, really, so liberating to be able to finally let go of a connection that didn't work and wasn't going to work again, and be able to shift her focus to the possibility of finding a new love. And
Yeah.
another one said that she could, for the first time, she could really see, she could visualize a healthy, loving man coming into her life. And I was getting just all this fantastic feedback
Thank
like
God.
this is amazing.
That's really amazing. So first of all, what I love is that I work with married women, and
Mm-hmm.
my specialty is, helping women who are in a marriage, and usually it's a pretty good marriage. It's not, I have all the spectrum. I help people who are almost getting divorced, all the way to people who are amazing marriage and they just want to grow their business and like find balance. So I do have that range, but within my range, everybody I work with is married. And
Mm-hmm.
so it is really fun for me to find someone like you who is addressing the exact opposite of like the people who are not married, who want to be in my programs and are saying, I wish I could, but I'm not there. How
Right.
do I get there? And so I can actually give them, here you go. Go to Meira and take her course and, follow her advice, because there has to be, this win-win. Everybody is here to fill a different role, and everybody has the ability to find who is going to help them and guide them in the direction that they need. So I love that we can collaborate like this and really, support each other in this way.
Absolutely. It's great. It's really perfect. Perfect balance.
Yeah, I love it. So, what are the things that they're going to be learning during these 5 weeks? Because 5 weeks is a really intense time. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
short, but it's long enough. What did they get?
So one of the first things we work on is mindset. They need to learn to believe in themselves and believe that there is someone out there for them. Now, many of them have been dating for such a long time, and they basically said, I've gone out with everybody there is, and there isn't anymore, and it's not happening. And what I begin with them is to get them to shift their mindset, to recognize that Hashem runs the world, and that Hashem doesn't work with statistics, that we
Mhm.
can throw out statistics because they're not relevant here.
Right.
We don't have to worry about, the male female balance in any of that. Even the ones that have what they think is a small pool of eligible men to look at, it's just not true. It doesn't have to stay static because Hashem can do anything. Hashem can bring someone new in, but they have to change their attitude. They have to open up their mind to allow it to happen, and they have to be willing to really make a connection with Hashem. I know you do this with your women in your program as well, but I
Yeah,
also do it. And
yeah. I love
and
it. I love it that God is at the core, and it just cancels out all the noise,
it
all the noise
does. It
about the
does.
numbers, about the ratios, about the statistics, about what is possible and what's impossible. Everything is possible for God. He does not have a limit of what he can do.
Absolutely.
I love
I
that.
know. I know. And that's why I've been able to get married and not worry about it. I knew when I went out there, I didn't realize it would happen as quickly as it did, but I knew when I went out there again, even though I was much older, that there would be someone for me, and I found the perfect person for me. He is
Yeah,
a partner in every way,
I
and
love.
and I remember the first time I realized that he was the right one for me is when we started talking about values. And I turned to him and I said, "What are your most important values in a marriage?" And he said, without skipping a beat, love, trust, and partnership. And I went, wow. Thank you, Hashem. I finally found him. And it's been amazing. We've been working together on this business. He believes it's his business as much as it is mine, but I'm the one that's actually doing the coaching, and he's in the background doing all the technical stuff and getting us back online when the power went out. So
Yes, yes. Thank God we are here. It only took us like 25 minutes.
I know.
But that's,
But Hashem made it happen.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about it, being able to believe in such a beautiful way, such a pure way that Hashem can do anything, and therefore I can get anything.
Right.
I get to coach some of my husband's students, as 'cause just it feels like they're my kids. So I'm like, very, very loving to these guys. They call with questions about what to do and whatever. And one of the guys had just lost his wife and called me for advice. And I told him, I do not let you fall into this belief that because your wife passed away, now you can't have, now like that makes you some sort of like second best or something. Like, I believe you can have anything. You can marry anybody. Like, it's going to be amazing. And just a couple of weeks later, he sent back an invitation to a wedding. It was like, wow.
Wow.
And
That's
thank God,
amazing.
like, it's just, and I don't have anything to do with them because, I'm not in their world, but being able to get that feedback, like, thank you for not letting me limit myself is such awesome feedback. And I
It
think that
is.
definitely has to be step one in your program. So I'm happy it is. That's awesome.
Right. So then we
Mhm.
work on, we look at relationship patterns. We identify where there are patterns that they no longer need to be following, and so they can take themselves out of that. We look at the values I mentioned. We look at limiting beliefs, because the limiting beliefs, they're underneath, they're like little silent saboteurs, and they can actually really, mess them up before they even get started. They have to, we do exercises to identify those limiting beliefs and remove them and replace them immediately with more inspiring truths that will
Mhm.
support them in what they want to be doing. So this
Yes.
is part of it. We work on all we locate all of the old baggage that they're carrying around from past marriages, and we do some processes that allow them to release those
Right.
all of
This is
those issues.
important. I love it. I love it. I sent a bunch of people to you because I think that this is so important. You cannot find love again when you are still enveloped in all of that baggage and noise
Right,
and weight and
right.
drain. Like, you can't. It's impossible.
Some of
So,
them wonder why they make the same mistakes a second time, and that's because they haven't done the work yet. They
mm,
can't just go to a shadchanit and say, "Fix me up." It doesn't work that way. They have to do the inner work first, or they're going to end up with what they had before. And no one wants to repeat their mistakes. So
no.
this is a way to keep that from happening.
Oh, I love that. I love that. And I know that now, because of the success of Finding Love Again, you're opening another program that's for singles.
Yes. Yeah, I decided that women who haven't found their partner yet, and I use the word yet because that word opens the door to the possibility of really finding the right person. And many of these women I know they're in, especially the women over 35, they're in so much pain because they want to have a family and they hear their clock ticking, and they feel like they are doing everything they can do, but they're not meeting the right person. And again, they have some inner work to do, similar to the ones that have been married before, but
I
with
mean,
with certain differences.
let's just put it out there. We are all doing inner work. There is not a single person in this universe who does not have inner work to do,
That's
because
true.
this is what we're here to do. That, constant becoming intentional and connecting deeper and being able to, take off the layers that are disconnecting us from God, from ourselves, from other people. That's what we're here to do. That's what, my program does. That's what your program does. So there's nothing wrong with them if they have inner work to do. It just means that they're exactly where they need to be. And this is the next step for them, just like it
Right.
is for all of us, right? When you're working on your business, you have inner work to do. I just finished swimming the Kinneret. There was a lot of inner work to do, right? There's
I
inner
heard
work. What?
I heard your podcast about your experience.
Yes, yes. It's just phenomenal to realize that everything you do is all surrounding the same core, which is it's all about the mind. It's all about how I manage my mind. It's all about me questioning the beliefs that are coming up
Right.
and being able to become intentional about what I want to believe.
Right. And then making the connection with Hashem and really giving him all of the old emotions that don't work for you, all of the fear and the doubt and the anger and the grief, all of that. You can just give that right to Hashem, and then you'll be more clear. You'll be able to receive all of the gifts he has waiting for you in the form of a beautiful partnership like I got.
That's
So
that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, yeah. It's wonderful work. I love this work. I am so inspired by it every day that Hashem has called me to do this work with the skills that I have. And
Yeah.
so, because I didn't want to wait until after Hagim to do another program, I decided to jump up and do one in July. So I'm going to do back to back Finding Love for women who haven't found their partner yet, and Finding Love again for women who have been divorced or widowed and want to remarry. So
I
I
love
have those
it.
back to back the whole month of July on the the ones who are single and looking to find their partner um, will be on Sunday nights, and the ones who have been divorced or widowed will be on Monday nights. And I'm actually offering a free 20-minute discovery call for each of them, as well as a video. Um, so if I can put that plug in, I can tell them they can go to www.findingloveagain.net and /single if you are looking to find your first love, your first marriage, and remarriage if you want to remarry.
Ooh, I love it. Okay, so you guys go and check that out because it sounds like it's going to be an amazing program. I am supporting this very much. First of all, as I said, because this is work that I've been asked to do and is just not fitting into my brand, my the focus that I'm in, and is something that works really in alignment with what I teach. So I support what you're doing and I love referring to you because it's so in alignment. And also, I believe that if you are in that situation where you're almost losing hope, almost, that there is like this tiny little, but like it's exhausting, it's draining, it's tiring to be hoping and not getting there.
Mhm.
Get yourself a coach, get yourself the help you need, get yourself into a program that will walk you through it because it's very, very difficult to get yourself out of your own situation. Even if you are an expert coach, guys, I am a coach, I'm an expert, I am the top, and I have my own coach, right? Like
Right.
we all need help to get out of our own things because we don't see them, because we get into that, tornado of thoughts and drainage of energy and all the stuff that happens as part of life is so important to get the support, get the guidance that you need in order to get to where you want to be. It
That's
really
right.
is.
That's right. I also have a coach, and I'm a coach. So yeah, absolutely. A coach is great. I mean, you can work with any coach. The advantage of my program is that you have a support group. The other members of the group, we have a WhatsApp, and the group has been wonderful. They're still communicating with each other back and forth and sharing ideas and triumphs, and also sharing, questions and feeling down. And they have, support for a good long while, as well as my support.
Right.
Um,
Yeah, one of the people was talking to me about my program, and she said, I just want you one-on-one. Like, I don't want to be in the group. And I told her, I said, you don't realize, but when I present to a group, I present differently than when I do a one-on-one. Because when I do one-on-one, it's just about you and me. We're trying to get to the bottom of it. It's very interactive in that way, which is very powerful. But when you're part of a group and we do an actual session, that I built and thought out and created, and it's a training or it's a meditation or it's something that takes you through a process. And on the other side, when everybody comes out of the meditation or comes out of the process and gives feedback, what they saw, what they heard, what they're dealing with now, suddenly you realize you are not alone. You are very similar. Like, everybody is on the same boat. And if that's the case, then, oh, okay. So it's not as bad as they thought. It calms your nerves, and it also gives you answers that you wouldn't have thought you had.
right.
Sometimes it just doesn't come up for you to ask that. And because someone else asked and the answer came up, it was exactly what you needed to hear. That is the power of a group. And you can't give one up for the other. I've done one-on-ones, just one-on-ones, and it's very powerful, but it's
Yes.
lonely. And then I've also
Mhm.
done only group. And I was in a group where there was only group support and there was no one-on-ones. And I felt there was something lacking, right? So you have to be able to understand that everything has its power and its place. And there's just really important, uh, I guess, like the way that they all work together and how everything falls into place is really important.
It is. I mean, of course, I work one on one as well. I have a private practice as well, but it is very intense and not as affordable as working in a group. That's another advantage, as it's
Mm,
much more affordable to work in a group. And you also get a taste of the coach as well as having the support of the group. And yeah, frequently the group will come up with questions you didn't even know you had. But yeah, I
right.
needed to know that too.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So there's
I
a
love,
time and a place for both, as you said.
yes. Yes, yes. Oh, this is so fun.
I
This is
love
so
groups.
fun.
I love the energy of groups, right? There's nothing like it.
I love it. I love it. I you know what? I I think that there's just my story. I don't know if you know, but I was a graphic designer for the first 15 years and I became a coach. And so in my process of becoming a coach, I was coached a lot because I
Yes.
realized that if I want to take shortcuts, I can't try to figure it out by myself with all the freebies online and all the things, the YouTube videos or whatever, like how to this, that, the other, like forget it. You could be going down rabbit holes for years until you actually take action. So it was the best investments I ever made because you see time collapsing. You see that your actions actually lead somewhere, and you see how much the support of the coach and the support of the group is necessary for you to get to where you need to be, you know?
It's phenomenal, really. It makes such a difference.
Yeah. Let's talk about love a little bit.
All right.
I want to
So,
hear a little bit about that.
gosh. Love. It's it's something that I guess for me personally, and I guess I have to really speak more from my own experience, it's something you just recognize. It's not something that you can necessarily um, pre-program. It's
Mm,
like, I went out with all of this list of, what I wanted, what I didn't want, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. You know, he's going to have to be this way and he has to look that way and he has to have, be financially stable and he has to, all of this. And it doesn't work that way.
Right.
I was I was actually at a point where I thought, well, this guy is nice and all, but I don't know, it's just not going deep enough for me. And I was thinking maybe of letting it go. And it was almost as if, Hashem grabbed me by the hair and turned me around and said, take a look at this guy. And he started to talk much more deeply this time. It was like our fourth date. And what he was saying resonated with me so much, and I just kept feeling like Hashem was saying, look, and I'm looking, and I felt like I could see his neshama. It was like so. He had the highest integrity of anyone I had ever met, and integrity was one of the values that I had come up with that was keen for me, really like number one. That you can trust that this person is going to do what they say they're going to do. That for
Right.
me has always been an issue. People promising me this and that and then not delivering is just such a disappointment. And this man was a paragon of integrity, I guess. He told me about his life and the things he had done and the things he had stood up for. And he had taken the name Nakshon as his middle name because he felt an identification with Nakshon. I went, Nakshon, oh my God, wow, this is a man that isn't afraid, that steps into the water and lets it come up to his nose and still keeps going because he knows that Hashem is going to be there for him. And that's
Yeah.
what I needed. And that's what I needed. So it was like in that moment, I fell in love with this soul, with this neshama that was just big and felt, it just, I just said, what does this feel like? It feels like husband. This man feels like husband. That's all I know. That changed everything, and it didn't matter to me. All of the list, I basically, rolled it up, threw it out. It didn't matter. This was what I was here for,
Right.
at a
Yeah, I love
certain age.
I love how you say you can't force it. You
Yeah,
can't force reality. You can't force your list. You can't force love. You have to listen.
you have to
And I
listen.
love that you said that it took until the fourth date to finally see it, because that's how it was for me also. My husband
Wow.
my husband doesn't like when I say this, but like on the first date, I was like, okay. Like I wasn't yes, I was just sort of neutral. And so I decided, okay, I'll give it another try. And I was like, okay, second date was nice. Nothing was wrong. The guy was nice, but it didn't click until the fourth date, you know? And I think it's important for people to know that, because a lot of people think you have to fall in love or you're going to
Right.
feel it right away, or,
Right.
it's going to come from
Really
inside.
find the click.
Yeah. And then afterwards, everything will fall into place. Actually, when it comes first and you don't think with your head before it comes, it ends up being very complicated to then force the parts of life into the way that you want them to be. And then you're trying to change him because he's not exactly what you want. It's very, very difficult. Where I found, if you're thinking with your head and you're seeing the values and you're seeing the good and you're seeing what they're about, you will fall in love automatically. There's just no way to not feel it, because you're focusing on it. And I think that's part of the coaching too, is like what you focus on grows, right?
Right.
You create love. You bring it, it's an active part in a marriage, in a relationship. It's not something that is on its own, like it will come or it will go. It's like, its own entity. It's not. It's very much in your control, in your in your hands.
Right. It it is, and it's really in Hashem's hands.
Yes, for sure. But I think that our feelings follow our thoughts and our, and what we focus on. That's why you have to be so careful with what you look and what you hear and where you're putting your energy, because your heart follows, So use that to your advantage. Let your
Right.
heart follow the things you want, you know? This is really powerful.
Right. That's why I started to say, when we're in our 20s, it's usually about how they look. That's important. Is he handsome? Does he attract me? When you get older, it's more of who he is, who he is inside. What are your values? That is so much more important than, how much money does he make, and, do I feel this immediate click? Some people expect to find a click on the first date, and if they're attracted to somebody on the first date, well, that's okay. That doesn't really mean that's the right person for you.
Right.
When I first started dating, I met some very wonderful, brilliant, handsome guys, but they just weren't right for me. There was something missing. And even Yitzi said this also when he was dating women, that even though there was with the lady he was dating, and she was nice and she was bright and she was fun and whatever, there was this click missing, that was a heart to heart, neshama to neshama click. And that's really what I was looking for and he was looking for, and why it took him 2.5 years to find me.
Well, he had to wait.
He had to wait. He had to keep trying and not give up.
Yeah. That's
I
really
encourage my women, not to give up, because he's out there. He's there. He's just out of reach. And
Yeah, but there's so many amazing stories of people who, thought their pool was all like, I know everyone in this town, and then suddenly there's a new person in town. Like, that's so, it's so possible. Why are you thinking it's impossible? Like, that is the most possible scenario I could think of.
right, because you formed a relationship with Hashem, and Hashem is bringing in new people. And that happened recently, actually, to a friend of ours. Um, a new guy came to town and was looking for someone to give him some information, and she volunteered the information. And now they're married,
Wow.
and another one was looking for a car, and someone suggested that she contact this guy to help her find a car because her Hebrew wasn't good. And he started helping her find a car, and he was a widower and she was a widow, and now they're married and very happy. It's amazing. It
Yeah.
happens.
And it's, there's so much power to life. Some people think that, like, okay, that's it. Like, the other person died, so I'm supposed to just, that's it. It's dead. Like, my life is done, you know? And you're obviously the one alive. So God doesn't want you to be dead. Like, if he wanted you to be dead, you would have been dead, but you're not. You're here to live. So power of life is so powerful. You have to keep going. You have to live. It's your responsibility to live if you have a life.
Right. I agree with you.
It's so important, and that guilt that comes with, but it's not okay for me to, maybe be too happy or live this way or whatever. That's mistake. That's a mistake, because God doesn't want that.
No. And I don't think that my former husband would have wanted me to be alone and just, grieving for him forever. I'm too young. I have too much love to give. too much I want to do in the world, before it ends. And as long as
Right.
Hashem gives me time to do it, I'm going to do it. This is why I'm here. This is my time. And I'm very clear on that. This is the work that I'm here to do, to help other women to recognize that it's also their time, that they also can have love in their life, no matter how old they are, no matter what stage they're at, no matter what they've been through, that it's entirely possible, and that they should, rip out the idea that it can't happen. It absolutely can. It absolutely can happen for them. But they have to
Yeah.
change their mindset. They can't be in the old mindset. They can't be in the victim mentality that says, oh, this terrible thing happened to me and everything terrible happens to me and nothing good ever happens. If you stay in that, like you said, it's koach hamoshech. If you stay in that mindset, then you're only going to draw to you what you believe you're going to draw to you. You have to
Right.
actually change the old mindset and go for the new one that is more open, that says that, the person that I want and need in the world is out there for me. He's there. It's just a matter of going out there and looking and not giving up.
I love it. Okay, remind us again how people can find you, because you are amazing.
Thank you. So, my website, I have a couple of websites, but this one is called findingloveagain.net and /single for those of you who haven't yet found your partner and want to. And there you can get an appointment to meet with me for a 20-minute discovery call and see how we can work together. And also a video that's an introduction to this program, and which will be available within the next 10 days, not right away. But also at the same place, findingloveagain.net/remarriage. If you have been married before and are ready and wanting to find new love in your life, and you don't want to make the old mistakes, you want to this time for it to last, then contact me, findingloveagain.net/remarriage. Again, a free 20-minute call and a video.
I
And program will be the month of July, Sundays for the singles and Mondays for the ones that want to remarry. And I'm very excited. It's going to be great. Just going to
Yes, it
be.
is going to be great. And if you're listening to this and you're like, but I am married and I'm not feeling that much love, or I'm feeling a little burnt out, or I'm just not in a right, place, or maybe I'm in a perfect place in my marriage, but I'm not giving myself the freedom to grow in different ways in my business, in my ability to give of myself in the world, leaning into bigger things than myself, then I am the one for you. I definitely am. Connectedforreal.com. Come and join me. I also have a free discovery call, and I would love to speak with you. This has been such a wonderful conversation, really. And I love that we got into love, because it's something that most people don't talk about.
Right. We were a
And
good
then
match.
we were a good match. And then we also talk about hope, because, I get a lot of people who say, well, there must not be any hope in my marriage. So there's only two choices here. Either I stay married for the sake of staying married and then suffer, or I get divorced. And I tell people, I say, if you had an infection in your arm, would the only two options be live with the pain or amputate? No, like, you would look to heal it, right? Like, I don't understand why everybody thinks those are the two only options when healing is a perfectly cromulent option. So
Right.
please come and heal your life, heal your marriage, and find that love again, even within your marriage.
Yep. Finding it in the marriage and finding a new marriage. We've got all sides covered, you and I.
All sides covered. I love it. And I love that you're doing singles, because that's such a wonderful thing. Okay. Thank you so much to Meira. Go check her out, and we will see you next time. Don't forget to stay connected for real.